Hey guys, it's Mara. Today I wanted to talk to you guys some about Pokemon. Because I know like everyone is playing, even people who didn't play when they were young. I didn't really start playing until I was in college because it was cool then, you kind of made fun of like the nerds back in elementary school who played. But I think it's really fun. I think the new game that came out is great because it's getting people outside and active and walking. People that don't normally go on walks, everybody's getting vitamin D, and I just think it's a great thing. Now, there are some downsides, obviously. People are driving and Pokemoning, I guess that's a word, I don't know. So that's not terribly safe. And then if you've heard about it in St. Louis, was it St. Charles, Missouri, that people were doing the lure mode, if you don't know what that is. Once you get to a higher level, you can use the lure mode at a Pokestop, and it lures the Pokemon there. So at the park, that by our house, they had two Pokestops that each had a lure mode on, and then everybody was sitting in the middle so they could get double the amount of Pokemons. Well, up in St. Charles, which is by St. Louis, they had a lure stop. I guess it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So sketch already. People, you need to quit at some point of the day and go to sleep. But they did this lure. So people showed up because they're like, oh, there's going to be Pokemon there. And then they robbed them. It's like the perfect crime and terrible because you're going to have people show up. But, maybe leave your money and valuables at home. I mean, obviously you'll have your phone because you're playing on your phone or a tablet or whatever. But don't be carrying loads of cash while you're just walking around. But anyway, so I mean, the first tip, I guess, playing Pokemon is be safe. I just saw on the news somewhere close by to where we live, there was people got arrested and they had guns that weren't registered and meth and things, and that's like it's between where we live and the park. So I mean, you gotta be safe. You gotta, like, even when you open up the app, it says be aware of your surroundings, and like don't get ran over when you're crossing the street, and obviously you're not supposed to be driving and Pokemoning. But anyway, okay, so second tip, I've been reading a lot about getting Pokeballs back when you miss the Pokemon, so I can't figure it out. I haven't got it to work, but I haven't had that many Pokemon nearby. I haven't gone to the park where usually most of them are. I don't have too many around where we live, or like, in the neighborhood. We gotta go a little ways to find some. But I haven't figured out how you do it. So I like to do the curveballs. You can get, if you get a great throw, you can get 50 more XP. And if you get a curveball, you can get 10. So you can get actually 60 more if you do a curveball and a really great throw. But so sometimes I waste a bunch of Pokeballs trying to get a really good throw in a curveball. But supposedly you're supposed to be able to click once you miss the Pokemon and get the Pokeball back. Now, I haven't figured that trick out yet, but like I said, I haven't tried it too many times yet. And this goes with what I just said. Another tip is what I found out, just go around to a bunch of Pokestops and get a bunch of Pokeballs and potions and revives and stuff like that. Just kind of load up, And if you happen to see some Pokemon while you're out there, then you can catch them too. But I mean, in our downtown area, there's a bunch of Pokestops, and so you can just go get your Pokeballs. And if it's been enough time, that stop, when you get the stop, it turns purple, the little circle deal above it. But then if you go around, and then it'll turn blue again, so you're available to hit up those Pokestops again. So just, that way you can get a bunch of Pokeballs so you're not running out. When you find a really good Pokemon, that happened to me the other day. We got home and there was an Eevee outside, and I was out of Pokeballs, and I was like, no! So Marin got it, but I didn't because I was out of Pokeballs. But, so yeah, I mean, be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your Pokeball count, how many you have, Another thing, and at the end of this video, I'll put up some screenshots I took of how to do this, but is to conserve your data. So we looked the other day on Marin's data, and it looked like he'd only used like 45 megs, which isn't a terrible amount of data, in I think it was maybe 2 days, but this is before we really started playing. So he played a fair amount throughout the day, and that was like over 2 days, but think if you're playing every day, like all day long, it's going to be a ton of data. So I read about this trick the other day, from your GPS. So each time it has to sync up with the internet. I think that's that little circle up in the corner that kind of turns. I think that's updating your maps. So I read about conserving your data by downloading your offline maps. So each time it doesn't have to download the new map, you know, every time you walk, you know, like 50 feet, it has to figure out where you are again. So it's all linked up with Google Maps. So what you do is you have Google Maps on your phone. Most, I assume, are, you know, already on there. I'm not sure how it works with iPhones because I have an Android. But you go into Google Maps, and then there should be, if it's linked up with your Google Plus account, which I assume most people have one now because you kind of had to have one to register with the game. But there'll be the 3 lines at the top, like the little menu button. You'll click on that, and then there'll be a sidebar drop down, and it'll have your name and your email at Gmail, and then it'll have all these choices. Well, then you go down to offline areas, and then a new screen will pop up, and it'll say, it says something like, do you want to download, and there's a little plus sign at the bottom, and you click on that, and then it'll come up with a Google map, and if you have your GPS turned on, it'll show where you are right now. So then you can download that map. I think mine was like 35 megs for a certain, you know, mile radius. I don't know how I did where I live now. And then we're going down to Florida, so I did that area too because I want to try to catch a bunch of beach Pokemon, see if there's some water Pokemon there. I've heard there's not as many as you'd hope for water Pokemon near the beach, but where are they going to be? I don't know. So anyway, the little plus sign at the bottom, you can pick out, you know, if you're going to be going to another town to get your Pokemon, a bigger city, or, you know, a certain area that you know that you're going to be at trying to get Pokemon, you can add that, and then it'll download it to your phone. So, I mean, you can do that on Wi-Fi, so that won't cost you data. I mean, you got to make sure your phone has room for it, you know, but if that's 35 megs in the scheme of a phone is not that much room. But anyway, then you can zoom in and out to select how big of an area you want to download. And then, you know, it takes a little bit to download, and then you're done. So that'll save on data each time. I mean, each time you fight a Pokemon, I'm pretty sure it uses data because when I lose Wi-Fi and I'm not in a service provided area, then it won't even let me click on the app. It's like it kind of freezes. But if I get internet again, then it'll work. So I think it uses data every time you fight, but at least when you're just walking around and everything, they won't use extra data just to figure out the road layout. Let's see, what else? Oh, and once you get eggs and then you get an incubator, you incubate the eggs by walking. So some of them are like 5 kilometers, some of them are 10 kilometers. That you have to have, but you have to have your app open, I'm pretty sure, when you're walking around to get that mileage up. For me, I would keep the app open when I was at work trying to get extra, you know, kilometers in so my eggs could hatch while I was incubating them. But I found out if your GPS signal doesn't work, which we have terrible Wi-Fi, terrible GPS signal at the hospital, that it does not count you moving around. So I've gotten like, you know, overall like 0.5 or something kilometers on one of them from being at work. It doesn't pick up. So if your GPS, you don't have good signal, Wi-Fi, GPS, any of that, then it won't count like your steps, you know, like your Fitbit or whatever. it doesn't work like that. But I mean, I've seen they're going to come out with Pokemon Go, like little Fitbit deals, little wristbands that'll vibrate when you come close to a Pokemon. But I wonder with like Bluetooth and things, if that would be more accurate, if that will count like steps, part of the egg hatching. I haven't looked, or incubating, I haven't looked into that far yet, but that would be nice if that would help out with that. So you would get, you know, I've been walking and it's not counting. So what else? I already talked about loading up on Pokeballs. I wrote this all down because I knew I was going to forget what I wanted to talk about. But, oh, and another thing, so say you're walking around and, oh, it's another Rattata, or Rattata, however you say that. Or it's another, what are them? We get tons of bats. We get tons of those little ugly Rattatats. What else do we get a lot of? Oh, the little, not sparrow, the other little bird guys. Anyway, tons of those around here. You know, they're usually not very good levels. It's not one that you want to make one of your main Pokemon. But don't just, you know, hit the little runaway button, because those, you know, you may just, as soon as you catch them, you may then just send it straight to the scientist dude. Instead of, you know, training him up and evolving him and powering up. But each one that you know, give up or release over to the guy, you get 3 candies. And those candies are specific for that Pokemon. I was going to say organism. I was like, well, yeah, organism. But so say you want to keep your highest level ones. And you want to keep, if you got really high levels, you want to keep like your top 6 of your highest levels, even if one of those is a duplicate. You know, you may have like 2 400s or something, and you of the same kind, but you may want to keep them both because they're one of your top 6 highest. But otherwise, I would say get rid of and return over your lower level ones, because you'll get 3 candies for that. And those candies you can use to evolve your Pokemon to the next one up if it's not all the way evolved, or to power them up. So I mean, those little ones, yeah, it's like a level 10, whatever, it's not gonna be super helpful, but you know, turn those over. But make sure you don't turn them all over. Keep at least one, your highest level, you know, if you want to try to catch all the Pokemon. But if you know, turn it over, then you're not gonna have that species of Pokemon. So anyway, I hope you guys like this video. I know I kind of ramble, but sorry. I'm still learning. There's supposedly, you know, it's not all. There's going to be more added on to this game. This is just like the first round. There's going to be a lot of add-ons, cooler stuff. Supposedly you're going to be able to start like trading Pokemon and stuff like that. So I'm really excited. I'm glad my boyfriend and I both got on the same team. We're Team Mystic. No. Because if you go around with people and you want to try to take over a gym, obviously you have to be on the same team. You're going to just be fighting against each other, and build up your gym to get the prestige up and everything. So if you for some reason haven't downloaded the app yet, you know, kind of check in with your friends. I've seen a lot of people on Facebook like, which team should I join and everything. People who are finally downloading it resisted it as long as they could. But yeah, make sure you figure out what your friends are. If you're going to be playing Pokemon together, you don't want to be on different teams unless you're just like, I'm going to, you know, beat them all. But it's funner if you guys, you know, can band together and go play together and be on the same team, so you can build up a gym and, you know, take it over and be all on the same team. So yeah, that's another tip, I guess, too. But if you have already made an account, I mean, maybe I've seen people talk about, hey, you know, maybe that'll be a thing later on where you can change like once to another team. I think it's just wishful thinking. Right now, you're just locked in, like whatever team you picked, that's your team. You can't do anything else. So unless they change that later on, you're gonna have some unhappy people, you know, because they can't go around. They can play with their friends, but they can't, you know, join together to build up a team for a gym. So anyways, okay. Thanks for watching. Guys, like my 90s inspired outfit, my overall dress. I love this. This is like my favorite dress ever. Got it at a thrift store, of course. But anyway, to go along with my Pokemon, my 90s outfit, you know, channeling it all. But okay, bye. For real this time. See ya.